Kerr9000 here, talking about retro games once again. Thank you for joining me. If I was to say rare in relation to games to most people, then they'd probably think about the N64, about Banjo and Conker and Perfect Dark and James Bond. To me though, rare is so much more than that. I can remember their NES games, and I also remember even further back when they were named Ultimate Play the Game, and they were bringing corker after corker out on the ZX Spectrum. Attic Attack and Sabrewulf were much talked about in playgrounds in my youth. This is where I need to briefly stop the review and say go buy Rare if Replay, if you have an Xbox One, and play the living heck out of it, out of all the games on it. And when you're done, grab everything else that's not on it that Rare or Ultimate did. They were an awesome company for me growing up. Okay, so now it's time to get back to business. The game I'm going to talk about today is Battletoads in Battlemaniacs. It's a platforming beat-em-up from 1993 developed by Rare and published by Tradewest. Tradewest no longer exist, and Rare, well, you could write a whole article about their fate. The short of it is that they are still around, but now they're owned by Microsoft and have spent a lot of time making Kinect-based games and hats for Xbox avatars. They did make a few games before that, but yeah, there was some cold days for them there where they were just doing wavy Kinect games, but thankfully they've recently made a real game again, so here's to hoping that they have a bright future ahead of them. Battletoads in Battlemaniacs was not the start of this story though. The series began with the original beat-em-up game Battletoads, which was released for the NES in 1991. It was ported to the Mega Drive, Game Gear, Game Boy and Amiga. Now, the Battletoads were largely created with the purpose of trying to be rivals to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles as some of us know them, and the Turtles video games, but it was more than that. In fact, at the height of Battletoads' popularity, they even managed to get a television cartoon pilot, well, animated. Although this, unfortunately or fortunately, if you've seen it, you'll be able to judge for that. In fact, I'll show you some now.
Look at me go with a battle cry. Battletoads, Battletoads. We got a eagle man and a T-bird in the sky. Battletoads. Across the universe, now we're green and we're totally fine. Battletoads. We were just nerds from Rockstar. Now we're super toads, works it all. We were strange, but now we're strangers. And we're facing up to danger. Bow, bow, bow. We got new names, pepper rations, it's got superpowers with our smash hits. Count on us to carry the load. We're the Battletoads. Here we go with our battle cry. Battletoads, Battletoads. We got an eagle man and a T-bird in the sky. Battletoads. Across the universe, now we're green and we're totally fine. Battletoads.
Okay, now we're back. Yeah, there was this pilot, but it never got spun off into a full series. I do recommend you watch it. It is a little bit cringy, as you can probably tell from what you've just witnessed, but far worse got made. Okay, so the original Battletoads was a very popular game. It was fun, but brutally hard. It was a good beat-em-up with a two-player mode, but it also had sections where you rode on hover bikes, and these were the merciless, hard, bastard stages. Worse still, if you were playing them in two-player mode, if one of you crashed, you both had to start that section again, which it led to screaming arguments. That game has shattered friendships. I didn't lose any friends over it, but I had some blazing arguments. Okay, so Battletoads Battlemaniacs follows the story of two of the Battletoads, Rash and Pimple, on a quest to stop Silas Volkmeyer and the evil Dark Queen from ruling over the world while rescuing a princess and their fellow Toad. Many of its levels are enhanced or remixed versions of levels from the original Battletoads, so it's sort of a semi-sequel, semi-remake. I see this kind of as the video game equivalent of The Evil Dead 2. In that it's a bit like some of it's the same stuff again, some of it's new, it's kind of a continuation, but we're all confused. First thing you'll notice is that the sprites in this game are large and the game in general is very colourful. The soundtrack is kind of basic, but the music suits the game well. This game is not just a beat 'em up, it's a massive mix of things. Yes, you'll fight, but then there's also hoverboard racing, platforming, and much like the original NES version, the game is enjoyable, but sections of it might have you tearing your hair out. If you like hard games with a sense of humour, then it might be just for you. If, however, you hate games with challenging pieces that you're going to have to try and try again, then you're going to hate Battletoads. This makes it a very hard game to rate because its overall quality depends on the kind of person who's playing it. Therefore, a score I give it might in fact be meaningless to you. I've never completed Battletoads in Battlemaniacs, but I've spent a very long time trying in the past. Personally, I see it as a challenge which keeps me coming back. If I was to give this game a score out of 10 for myself, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's fun, there's a fair degree of variety, it's a good game to play with friends, well, as long as they're friends that enjoy a challenge. But I have to warn again that if you hate games that will see you die again and again on certain segments, then this isn't for you. This game was before Rare's proper partnership with Nintendo. In fact, it was, as far as I know, the last game they released for the SNES before beginning to directly work on projects for Nintendo. They'd invested their significant profits from games during the NES period to purchase a bunch of very expensive silicone graphics workstations. This move made Rare the most technologically advanced developer in the United Kingdom, and I think most of us know what this led to. If you want to purchase Battletoads, then you're looking at anywhere between £13 to £18 for a cartridge of it, and if you want a copy in a box in a good condition, then you'll probably need to look at sort of double that range. I looked at buying it in a shop cartridge only for £18, but instead ended up buying a cart offline for £14 including postage. This is actually one of the games that I brought to review. I didn't own it before I decided I was going to review it. And this is actually probably, at the time I wrote this review, the most I'd spent on a game specifically for a review. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day. Carry on gaming.